The Hebrews had finally stepped out of Egypt. For the first time in their lives, the road ahead felt open. God led them with a pillar of cloud in the day and a pillar of fire in the night, a visible reminder that He was guiding every step. But the journey led them to the shore of a wide sea. Water stretched across the horizon, no path forward. And behind them, something was stirring in Egypt, something that would soon shake the desert floor. What they faced looked impossible, but God was preparing a miracle they could not yet see. While the Hebrews rested near the coastline, Egypt's palace was filled with regret. Pharaoh sat on his throne, thinking of the nation he had just allowed to walk away. Thousands of workers gone, projects unfinished, cities suddenly still. His officials approached him anxiously. "The Hebrews have truly left," they said. Pharaoh's eyes narrowed. "We let them go."
We let them go, and now our land is empty. What have we done?
Anger rose inside him, not sorrow, not humility, but pride. "Ready the chariots," he ordered. "Prepare the soldiers. We bring them back." Egypt burst into motion. Horses were armed. Chariots rolled out in rows. The finest soldiers took their places. Pharaoh stepped into his own chariot, the royal emblem glinting in the sun. "After them," he commanded. The army thundered out of Egypt, a force no nation could outrun on foot. And still, the Hebrews knew nothing. They camped near the water, unaware of the dust rising behind them. The Hebrews stood at the edge of the water, trying to understand why God had led them here. Families gathered near the shoreline. Some whispered in concern, others tried to calm their children. But everyone could see it. The sea blocked their path. Moses stayed steady. He looked toward the pillar of cloud, the one that had never failed them, and reminded the people, "God has led us this far. He will show us what to do next." As they waited, a low tremble passed through the ground. At first, it felt like distant thunder, but the sound grew sharper, the pounding of hoofs, the grinding of chariot wheels. People turned. Across the desert, a cloud of dust was rising. Pharaoh was coming, an army behind them, a sea before them, and Moses standing between both, holding the staff God had placed in his hand, ready for God's command. Fear spread quickly through the crowd. Some cried out, some stepped back from the shoreline, others argued in panic, "Why did we come here? Where can we go? There's no way out." The noise rose like a wave until Moses lifted his hand. The people quieted, trembling as the sound of the army grew louder behind them. Moses spoke with steady strength, "Don't be afraid. Stand firm."
You will see the rescue God will bring today.
His words didn't come from bravery. They came from trust. The same trust that carried him through Pharaoh's palace, across the desert, and back into Egypt with nothing but a staff and God's command. The people stared at Moses. He stared at the sea. And he waited for God's next instruction. The pillar of cloud that had led them suddenly shifted. It rose higher, thicker, and then drifted from in front of the people to behind them, forming a wall between the Hebrews and Pharaoh's army. Light on one side, darkness on the other. The Egyptians couldn't see. They couldn't advance. They couldn't move forward even a single step. But on the Hebrew side, the cloud glowed softly, giving them light through the night. God himself stood between his people and the danger racing toward them. Moses watched the cloud settle in place. He knew what it meant. God was preparing the moment that would change everything. The sea's waves shifted as the night deepened. God spoke to Moses, "Raise your staff over the water." Moses lifted his staff, the same staff that once turned rivers to blood, the same staff that stretched over Egypt's sky and opened the way for every sign and wonder. As he lifted it, a strong wind swept across the water. The sea began to pull back, slowly at first, then with thunderous force. Waves rose like walls. A dry path formed straight through the sea. The people gasped as the impossible unfolded before them. A road where no road had ever been. A path no human could create. A miracle only God could do. Moses turned to the people. "Walk forward. God has made a way." The Hebrews stepped into the path, one family at a time, trusting the God who had fought for them again and again. The wind held the waters apart. The cloud kept the army back, and the people began their walk through the heart of the sea. The path between the waters stretched far ahead, lit by the glow from the pillar behind them. The wind roared, but the ground beneath their feet was dry. Parents held their children close. Young men carried baskets and supplies. Elders leaned on staffs as they walked forward, eyes wide with awe. Every few steps, someone glanced at the towering walls of water, held up by nothing but the power of God. Far behind them, Pharaoh's army tried to advance, but the cloud blocked every attempt. They could hear the soldiers shouting, but the darkness held them back. The Hebrews walked deeper and deeper into the sea, yet not a drop touched them. The last of the Hebrews stepped onto the far shore. Moses waited until every family was safe. Only then did the cloud behind them lift. Suddenly, the Egyptians charged into the sea path. Horses raced forward. Chariot wheels slammed against the ground. Soldiers shouted, pushing ahead with full force. But their advantage didn't last long. The wind shifted. The path shook. Chariot wheels began to swerve and drag as if the ground itself was fighting against them. Panic spread through the Egyptian ranks. And then God gave Moses one more command. "Stretch out your hand over the sea." Moses raised his staff again. The wind stopped. The water cried out in a thunderous crash as the walls fell inward, and the sea returned to its place. When the waves finally settled, the army that had caused Israel such fear was gone. Silence spread across the shore. The danger was over. The Hebrews stood on the far side of the sea, soaking in the quiet. Children laughed in relief. Mothers wept softly. Fathers lifted their eyes toward the sky, breathing in freedom for the first time in their lives. They had not escaped by strength. They had not won by numbers. They had not fought a single battle. God fought for them, and God won. Moses looked across the sea, at the calm waves, at the horizon where the army had once stood, and then at the people he had led. They were no longer slaves. They were a nation, and God himself was their guide. The desert stretched ahead, wide, unknown, and waiting. But this time they walked not as captives, but as people chosen for a purpose. The night settled softly over the camp as the people rested on the far shore. Some sat in small circles, whispering the story they had just lived. Others simply lay on the sand, trying to understand the miracle they had walked through. Moses stood a little apart, looking at the path God had opened and the journey still ahead. They had crossed the sea. They had witnessed God's power. They had stepped into a new life. What waited for them in the wilderness, they did not know. But God was with them, and that was enough. The desert wind blew gently across the sand, the quiet beginning of a story still unfolding.